Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen, and we're specifically going to talk about the Dwarves of Thorbardin. All right, let's break into this. So, I have just been having a tremendous time. So I've read through Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen, and I have to say I did not get it, man. Like, there was so much there. I was like, I still don't feel like I know this setting well enough, right? So one of the things is I'm a YouTuber, right? And I know for a fact YouTube is an incredible resource. So there's links to two incredible videos below that really helped me. So I read all of Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen, and I think maybe at another. I think the book did a great job of breaking it all down. But if you like, we have some real problems in the world. Like my wife was like, eggs are 4 times the cost they used to be, and I was like, don't you need that to make like cakes and like sausage and egg and like a whole bunch of other things that we really enjoy? She's like, yeah. So like all the things we eat might change, right? And I'm like, so like the world is cracking in half. And so like when I read Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen, maybe it's not setting into my brain the way all the rest of the setting books, because world just ain't the same, right? And I'm sorry. I'm really trying not to keep going on this OGL this OGL, the 2023 manic panic, right, over the OGL, right? But one of the things that I just find really galling about these OGLers, these OSRs, and these orcs, right, are coming under the banner of D&D Be Gone, and they're like, we're going to take everything you have and destroy it. We're going to burn it to ash, and we're going to put up Pathfinder in its place, right? In my humble opinion, that's their promise. They shout it 1,000 times a day on Twitter, right? And my point is, people talk about reading the room. Like, there's no bandwidth for this right now. Like, in 1983, America was busting with success, right? And so when you came and you tried to pull, PHBs out of people's hands, with your persecution zealotry, right? People were like, yeah, you're trying to take Dungeons and Dragons from me, but like I can afford eggs, right? Now with your OGL, your OGLers, OSR, orcs, with your persecution promises, this is being perpetrated on people just have like literally zero extra bandwidth for extra persecution in their life and in your life, and you're like, we don't care. Like our ability to copy and insult Hasbro is far more important than the trauma we're heaping upon your heads right now in a world that is flapping in the wind and every single thread of it is burning, right? It's just, the timing of it is galling and horrific. It is just horrible. Let's talk about Dragonlance, Shadow of the Dragon Queen, the Dwarves of Thorbardin. So F. Wesley Schneider drops these dwarves, and so I'm learning about Dragonlance. Dragonlance's setting. The world is Kryn. The continent is Ansalon. On that continent is Thorbardin. This is where the mountains of the dwarves are. So you have traditional mountain dwarves, okay, of Thorbardin, and they have gone even deeper since the Cataclysm. They have dedicated themselves to even more awesome mountain forging, mountain tunneling, right? Beer making, right? All the things that dwarves are very, very famous for and very known for, is right there. And so, it's really, and I understand these mountain dwarves, right? And so F. Wesley Schneider is like, here's the mountain dwarves, right? They have split from their brothers and sisters, the hill dwarves. And I'm like, the hill what now? The hill dwarves, right? These are dwarves who don't live in the mountains, right? They are non-traditional dwarves, right? So the mountain dwarves of Thorbardin are traditional dwarves. The hill dwarves are non-traditional dwarves, right? They don't forge, they don't tunnel, right? They don't craft beer. They interact with humans. They travel, right? Maybe they're a tinkerer. Maybe they're a blacksmith working in a forge that a human built, right? And they're just traveling in the hills, and they have abandoned everything that makes a dwarf in the traditional sense, right? And this is what I love about Dungeons & Dragons. So Dungeons & Dragons is this identity engine, right? And it says, you are no longer a sad sack human who lives one life, right? You get 100 lives, right? And you are a very social person. Like, you're like a social butterfly, and you are able to easily speak to people and make people like you, and you can bring joy to any room. But what if you were a powerful, strong, sour curmudgeon, right? And it turns the dial on identity and lets you explore a different type of person, right? And being a different type of person, right? And not only does it give you this incredibly specific, like, identity frame, the dwarf, right? Which echoes back all the way back right to Tolkien, and Tolkien's pulling this out of myth, right? But it's setting it in the modern, the now, right? And it's saying you're no longer trapped in you. You have the ability to travel. You have the ability to create. You have the ability to converse, right? In an identity that is completely not hinged to your own identity, right? And it's this incredibly new type of freedom that has not existed in any narrative path that humanity has ever had, right? And so it gives you this traditional dwarf, and then it gives you the ability to explore the non-traditional dwarf. Like, what if you're a dwarf, but you don't do any of the things that are traditionally connected to dwarves? And now, who are you? What are you? And these are incredibly powerful. Specifically, these incredibly powerful questions, right? And we as humans get in and we start to turn the dial on identity set, right? And this really transforms us as humans, right? It changes how we think, how we empathize, how we everything. And it's just so powerful and so valuable and so lacking in these retro clones, right? They're like, oh, what's really important is the damage that a longbow does. Like, no. And and that's the point, is like, if you don't understand the original, you can't copy it well. And that's where we're at. Pathfinder is a junk game, and it's not going to allow this type of extra level human improvement that Dungeons and Dragons fundamentally is built to do, in my humble opinion. All that's my humble opinion. I'm eager to hear your humble opinion when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.